Welcome to Rise Up in Business, the law podcast for small business owners. This podcast is designed to share important legal information without the stuffy legal jargon. I'm Tracey. Let's get into today's episode. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Rise Up in Business podcast. Today in the podcast, I'm going to talk about something that is all over social media at the moment, and it's coming up frequently when I talk to my clients and when I talk to my business friends, and that is Chat GPT and copyright. Clients have reached out to me several times and they've asked me the question, Tracey, who owns the copyright if I'm using Chat GPT? I have talked about it on my social media, but because people are asking me, I thought to myself, I'll bet you I have a lot of listeners who are curious about this, or perhaps even some listeners who are using Chat GPT and haven't turned their mind to the copyright issue yet. So either way, I think this is going to be really valuable, and I hope that you get useful information out of this to help you make some informed decisions to whether or not to use Chat GPT, and if you do use it, how it is that you're going to use it. For those that don't know, if you have been living on an island somewhere and you don't know what Chat GPT is, it's AI. It's a tool, it's an AI tool that produces copy for you in simple terms. I'm no expert by any means, but I do know what it does. I know the functionality of it, and I know the inherent risks around using it when it comes to copyright. There is a lot of noise always when we're running a business. So we're wearing all the hats and we're doing all the things and we're trying to keep up with all the new things and all the changes. So when something like this comes along and it's picked up by so many business owners, there's a lot of noise around it on social media. It's great, it's not great, you should be using it, you should be using it more, are you using it right, you shouldn't be using it all the things. And when we're making decisions about what tools to use in our business, we need to know, I think, what the value add is, but also what the risk is and what the implications are. I talk a lot on this podcast about prevention being better than cure in business. And my intention with this episode is to help you identify any potential areas where you could be exposed to risk in your business if you're using Chat GPT. Chat GPT, in my view, it's a tool and it should be used as a tool. I don't see it as something that's going to replace your copywriter or replace your VA or anybody else who's helping you with blogs, newsletters, website copy, social media posts. I don't see ChatGPT as a replacement to any of those, and there's so many reasons for that. I recorded an episode with my copywriter, Rachel Rennie, where we talked about ChatGPT and what she thinks of it in terms of copywriting and what it can do and what it can't do. You can go back and listen to that episode on the podcast. Let's take a moment first to explore what it is I mean when I say copyright. So what is copyright? Copyright is the ownership that vests in original works, original creative works, created by an individual that is documented. That's in simple terms. So if you are creating something, whether it's a song, an article, website copy, a blog, and it's your original work, then you automatically own copyright in that work. You own it. So unlike a trademark, you don't have to go and register your copyright to own it. If you've prepared it, it's original work, and it's written down, you automatically have protection under the Copyright Act in Australia. I have written about this in a blog article on the resources page on the website, and it's called Trademarks and Copyright, Is It Really Yours? If you'd like to understand a little more on that, we'll include the link in the show notes and you can jump over and take a read. That then poses the question, when we're using tools like Chat GPT in our business to create our social media posts or create our blogs or our website copy, who owns the copyright? And the way the question's phrased to me when I'm asked is, do I own the copyright or does Chat GPT own the copyright? So let's address that first. Chat GPT is not a human. It's not an individual. And the copyright legislation is framed around original works being created by individuals. So there's no scope for Chat GPT to own the copyright. I always say the law is slow to catch up, and it really is. So I'm sure this will be dealt with at some point in the future. But the reality is we're here now. And the question I'm being asked is it mine or is it Chat GPT? It's not Chat GPT. Chat GPT does not and cannot own the copyright in what it creates for you. But I don't think that that's the important question. The important question that I say business owners ought to be focusing on is the content that Chat GPT creating for me original, or is it infringing on someone else's copyright? So if you use it, are you at risk? Is your business exposed to a potential infringement of somebody else's copyright? That's the important question to be thinking about here. When Chat GPT produces content, when you ask it a question or you ask it to do something, it pulls from a very broad database of information. So the World Wide Web, there are no limits to the extent that it can go to pull the information that it uses to share with you to do what it is you're asking it to do. It's mind-boggling just how broad the scope is. So when it pulls from its resources or it pulls from its database to answer your question or to draft what you've asked it to draft, where is it getting that data? That data that it gets could be somebody else's original work that it's sharing with you to answer your question or do what you've asked it to do. So it could be infringing on somebody else's existing copyright. And this is the important thing that business owners need to be aware of when using Chat GPT in their business. Chat GPT is a tool. My view is it's not a replacement. So when you are using it, use it wisely as a tool. Make sure that you are confident that what you then put out into the world in your social media or your blogs or your newsletter or whatever, that what you put out into the world still constitutes your original work. So what I'm saying is there is risk attached to simply copying and pasting what Chat GPT produces for you because you don't know where it came from and you don't know if it's infringing somebody else's copyright because it has reproduced somebody else's original work. So that's the answer to the question, do I own the copyright or does Chat GPT own the copyright? Chat GPT does not own the copyright, but you don't automatically own it either because it may not be original. So if you're going to use it, make sure you've got your systems and processes developed in a way where you have your checks and balances, that you are satisfied that what you are then putting out into the world is your work, and you can be confident that you're not copying somebody else's because you're not simply replicating or copy and pasting what Chat GPT provides for you. I hope that's been helpful. If you've got any questions at all about copyright, how it applies to your business and whether you own it, feel free to reach out. You can always book in for a free chat. I'm always happy to help and answer the questions that you need so that you're empowered as a business owner to move forward in your business with confidence. Thanks so much for listening. I'll catch you next time.